There we go. Nice. I mean, dang gone. Oh boy, wanted it right there. Alright guys, there's the first one in the morning. No giant, but he's fun and he's mad. There, man. Well, we're coming.
Tell her to make a bag of out of Christmas on top of that.
Okay. There he is. Let me get off here.
Good?
Yep. Yep, that's a really good one.
Right.
No. That's a smallmouth. Yeah. There you go.
Hey.
Ain't bad. Yeah.
My face full of that stomach, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. There you go.
Where was he at?
He was deep. He come up under that thing and ate it.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we need a parallel.
There you go, guys. Or he is a chunk, but he ain't no giant, but God, he's pretty. All right, buddy, get out of here. Hi, there you go. There we go. Yep. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, go ahead and get the net. Don't do that to me. I don't feel like doing that. Dude, I don't know what the f this is.
Small well. Keep him down. Or a big large man. Keep him down. Yeah.
There we go.
I told you I've caught some good large ones in here, dude. Dandy.
That's what I'm talking about.
Hey,
Dude, that's
hey.
a dang good one.
I told you, bro.
So why aren't they on this? I mean, it's laid out flat the same. There he is. Yep. He ain't a giant.
Largemouth.
Let's go.
What?
No, it's just a largemouth. Dude, this largemouth ain't got no tongue. I ain't never seen this. He ain't got a tongue.
God, he don't.
That's
a little bitty one. That's fun.
That's crazy. I ain't never seen one without like a pronounced one. You know what I mean?
You got another one plug?
Yeah. Oh yeah, there it is. It finally popped up. It's little though. That's weird, man. Huh. See you, bud. That's the thing, is like I can't, like, and they're like, well, how do you know that? Well, that's the thing, is like, how do you know that? I'm like, what's, I'd have never figured that out if I hadn't have just gone out there and done it. What the hell? He's come up that tree. Yep, big one. Yep. I popped that thing loose and he ate it. Here, grab the boat. He ain't huge, but he's a good one. Nope. Watch out. He's coming in the boat. Dude, I swear to you, that was one of the coolest dang on things I've ever seen in all of my life. Whew. It was hung on that tree right there, and when I popped it, I saw it come loose, and he ate it.
I've seen that happen so many times.
That's a good little fish there. He's pretty.
Healthy.
Yeah. God dang, that was funny, dude. I mean, like, I was popping, and I watched it pop loose, and that fish just goes whoop and had it.
Tell me what you did. I knew exactly what happened.
Big one? Hey, let me get off here. Don't fuck with him too much.
Look at that.
Yeah, good job, man. That's a pretty fish. All right, guys. There's a couple old green chunky ones there. Let's get them back in the water. You going? Get you going. Look at him. Love it.
There he is.
That's a good one, though. That's a good one, though.
Smell man. That's a good fish, though.
Yeah. Lord have mercy, son. Well, now I kind of wish we didn't have took the picture. Show the camera.
Chunker, ain't it?
Yeah.
Pretty.
All right, guys, so let's break down what I was throwing and what I was throwing it on to catch all those fish, and let's talk about kind of what I was focusing on, the areas and the factors that played into catching the fish that I did. So the fish catching footage that you just got done watching was over the past 3 days of fishing. Went out and just kind of grinded it out 2 days on a lake that I fished quite a bit, and had some, you know, fairly good success for the weather conditions and the things that we've been dealing with. And then the third day we went out to a lake that I've not been to in a while, Highland Reservoir, very deep, very clear, no grass, kind of very different than the first lake that we were on, but got on that lake and had some success as well. But I thought I'd talk about kind of what I was focusing on each lake to help me catch the fish that I did. So the first day, well, the first couple days, I caught them on both of the baits I'm going to talk about, but primarily I found the more quality fish throwing the evergreen jackhammer. This thing just excels in the grass, and that's really what I was focusing on, was grass. I was finding those isolated grass patches in shallow pockets. And the key thing there, I think there was really 3 key things there. Number one was finding isolated patches. If I found like an expansive patch that was, you know, bigger than my boat, I wouldn't catch as many fish, and I really wouldn't catch any fish around those patches. I had to find those areas that were more isolated, you know, a patch about the size of the front of my boat or even a little bit smaller, and those areas seemed to hold those fish. The second factor that I had to look for was just a little bit warmer water, which inherently came with the fact that I was fishing in shallower water. And most of my bites, the third thing, came in the afternoon. Once the sun had been on those pockets all day long, gave that water a chance to warm up, I found water temperatures as warm as 3 to 4 to even 5 degrees warmer than the rest of the lake in the backs of some of those pockets. And you could really tell that it activated those fish. There was a lot of fish moving around. I got a lot of bites. There was a lot of bait fish and brim moving around. And it just kind of brought those pockets to life in the afternoon. The afternoon into really right at dark was when those fish would want to eat in that grass, and they would eat this jackhammer. But I was just slow rolling that jackhammer around those patches of grass, and I was literally seeing those patches of grass with my eyes. Using my polarized sunglasses, I was fishing in about 6 foot of water. Those grass patches were topping out in about 4 foot of water, and I would just cast past those grass patches and reel that jackhammer into there, and if it got kind of marred up, pop it out of there, and a lot of times that's when I would get those bigger bites. And you know, and those fish were just using those isolated grass patches for a few reasons. Number one, they hold a little bit more heat, so those fish can get in those grass patches, and even after the sun goes down, that grass will hold that heat and keep those fish warm throughout the night. Number two, it gives them an ambush point, so all the bait fish that were moving around in that area, swimming around those grass patches, those bass could race out, grab a few, and go back in their grass patch and feel secure. And really, I think that was the most important thing. The biggest key factor was finding isolated grass patches and finding that little bit warmer water. But I was throwing my jackhammer on my 7.5 foot Lew's Custom Pro small crankbait rod. This rod was designed for throwing 5XD style baits, bigger rattle traps, but really it is the perfect rod for throwing a bladed jig on. And then I had that paired up with some 20-pound Strike King fluorocarbon and my 6.8 Lew's Super Duty. Love the Super Duty with that heavier line, because the Super Duty has a little bit more line capacity, so you can put that 17 and 20 pound line on there and still be able to, you know, put a lot of line on there and make really long casts. Some of the more smaller profile reels, you can't do that as well, but this Lew's Super Duty does really well. Then the next bait, and the bait that I really focused on when I was fishing around hardcover like rocks and more bluffed out banks, was the Spro rock crawler. And this is the Spro rock crawler that has been doing all the work for me this year. I got it in the Monster Bass box in October, tied it on my rod, and honestly the only thing that I've done to it up to this point is change the hooks out 3 or 4 times, just because I've gone through so many sets of hooks from catching fish, and I switched them out to some owner stinger hooks, number 6 size. But this is the Spro rock crawler 55 in Mudbug, and as you guys can see, this thing is all chewed to pieces. It has been through the ringer. Got the hook rash, it's got rock rash, it's got teeth marks, it's got a little bit of everything on there, and it has been just putting in a ton of work for me. This is a great clear water color. It's a great muddy water color. I mean, everything about this bait is just right, and this has definitely been the year of the rock crawler for me. But definitely keying in on those areas, more bluffed out kind of banks, those deeper banks, anywhere that there was an access to a little bit deeper water, and really anywhere I could find, I could put my boat in about 15 foot of water, and then I found those tighter contour lines on my map is really where it seemed to be the best to throw this bait, not only on the lake with the grass in it, but in the lake without the grass in it as well. Now that's very key there. When I say I'm looking for those tighter contour lines, what that means is that there's more of a drastic drop off into that deeper water. If you have looser contour lines or contour lines that are farther apart, that means that as that bank starts to get deeper, it's a very gradual slope. When you find those tighter contour lines, it's a more drastic slope, and really that's where those fish seem to want to be. What that allows them to do is move up and down a lot easier. As they fluctuate our lakes, which happens a lot, the lakes are controlled by the TVA dams, and so those lakes will get jacked up and then they'll get jacked back down. And when that happens, those fish don't really want to move horizontally, they want to move vertically. And moving vertically with those fish is just a lot easier. They can stay in the same depth range, 4 foot of water, but as that water comes down, they can just follow that water down. Even though the water's getting you know, there's less water in the lake, they can still stay in that depth range that they want to live and be able to access deep water if they want to. And really, when you talk about accessing deep water, I'm not talking about a fish going from 4 to 25 foot. It's more from like 4 to 6 or 4 to 8 foot, and they're just able to get down there and feel comfortable. So really, the Spro rock collar, super important there. It's a deeper diving angle, really hits those depth zones very effectively, and you're able to fish it down to 12, 13, 14 foot of water pretty easily. Now, I'm fishing that on some 10-pound Strike King fluorocarbon. Again, very important to get that drastic diving depth, or that diving angle, and keeping it down there in that depth range and keeping it in the strike zone. And I got that paired up with my Lew's David Fritz cranking stick, 7-foot medium moderate action rod, paired up with 6/8 gear ratio Lew's Tournament Pro, and like I said, some 10-pound fluorocarbon. And this thing has been putting in work. Really, both of these rods this year have been my 2 big workhorse rods that have put the most fish into the boat for me. And just, it's crazy how many thousands of hours I can put on a cranking rod, and it really has to do with the fact that I crank all winter long, all fall long, and it's just a very important rod in my arsenal. Some people don't like them, some people don't believe in cranking rods. To each their own, but I really believe if you crank as much as I do, you live on these highland reservoirs, you live in places where fish eat a crankbait all year long like they do here, having a couple of good cranking rods is very important. But as always, guys, thank you for watching. Any questions or comments, please go leave them in the comment section down below. If you're new to my channel, make sure that like, subscribe, and notification bell let you guys know when I put out all of my videos. Also, go down in the description. I have links to my partners like Lew's. You guys can go check out everything that I talked about today. And if I don't see you before then, maybe I'll see you after them. I don't know. Either way, Happy New Year. I appreciate you guys, and we will see you later. Oh. You guys are sweet, and we'll see you later.